So I found this really great quote.
Okay, tell us. Please tell us.
We are dying to find.
Hurry.
All right. It's written by Alfred B. Smith. He said, if you're happy
And you know
and
it.
you know it,
Clap your hands. Alfred! Thank you.
Hiya. Hey, girls. What's up?
Hiya.
Yay.
What's up? What's up, girl?
What's up, girl?
Yeah. How we feeling? Everybody good? Having a good day?
Everybody's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
feeling great.
Greetings to our listeners. We're so happy you're here with us. We're hoping to give you a really great experience today and spread a little joy. Spread
That's
a little
right.
joy
Spread
to
a
our
joy.
friends.
That's right. That's right.
Speaking of joy, I have a very joyous comment from one of our listeners.
Okay.
Oh, we love
Joy,
that. We love
to
joy.
the world.
Yeah, this person was all about spreading joy. So, you know, how we've been posting the shorts on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, right? Just kind of
Yeah.
having fun, being crazy, being silly, just because we like to do that when we get together, right? For
Yeah.
happy hour.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
So we had that game where we were playing. Jana asked us if we could name 10 presidents. I think that was
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I got online the other day to post one of our shorts, and somebody had commented on that short, and
Yeah.
it said, let me read it exactly. It said, "So stupidity is funny?" Question mark.
As a matter of fact, it is.
I mean, we think so. We think it's funny.
That's what I was thinking. Like, how? Not that we would
Yeah.
respond, but if we were going to respond, like, yeah, that was very funny. You know.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
we
it just
thought it
hit me
was
funny
funny.
when I read the comment. I thought that's fantastic. You know.
Yeah. But at the same
Because
time,
I get-
not everybody's
I
going
get
to
their
love us,
point.
right? Yeah. Not everybody's going to
No.
love us. So, but we thought it was funny.
Oh,
It
it was
was
just
funny.
too funny. Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was funny.
All right. On that same path of positivity, positive vibes,
Yeah.
I'll start out with my I am statement because I was feeling
Okay.
very, very good this morning during my meditation. And I got a I am statement that came to me, and I was like, yeah, that's my I am statement for the week.
Bring it. Bring it.
I am optimistic and full of energy.
All right.
I like
That's
it.
good. That's good.
I like it.
That's good. All right.
That's
I'll
good.
Jana,
go.
what's yours?
Mine is I am not responsible for other people's happiness, only my own.
Ooh,
Ooh, that's a
that's
big one.
good.
It's a hard one for me, not going to lie.
That's a big
I'm
one for me,
always
too.
making sure everybody's happy. It's very difficult to,
That's a hard habit
Do
to
that.
break.
it really is. It really is.
It is.
What
All
you
right,
got,
Probably
mine-
Jen?
very freeing,
Yeah. If I
you
can
know,
pull it
get
off.
once
there.
you break it.
Yeah.
Once I pull it off. I'll let you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let us
let me
know
know.
next week.
Yeah.
I know some people who could care less.
I know.
About other people's happiness. Not in a bad way, but like,
Yeah.
if you're at a party and that person's not having fun, well, they're just
That's
having a
how I
bad day or
feel.
whatever. But it eats me alive.
Yeah,
Like, I've gotta go
feel
make sure they're-
Josh is that way. He's like every gathering. He's like, could you please just sit down and enjoy the party and not like wait on everybody? Can you just
Yeah.
have fun? And I'm like,
Yeah,
Enjoy it. Yeah.
I'll try.
it's very hard.
it's
very
hard.
hard.
It is super
Yeah.
hard.
Mine is I am trusting of the universe to give me direction, and I am open to all signs.
Oh, I like that.
Good. I like that's a very
See
good
all
one.
the magic in life.
Yes, I'm
right.
looking.
I like
I'm
that.
trusting it. I'm just surrendering
Yeah.
to it. So
That's a
A
very
lot of
pretty
times
one.
we're so busy thinking about all the other things that we can control that we miss it. We miss
Yeah.
those opportunities or there's those signs. So that's a good one.
Just the
I like it.
signs. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Perfect.
Good.
Well, ladies, I was going to tell y'all a little story, it's a quick story of just what happened to me a couple weeks ago. And it gave me a lot of food for thought. And I thought that maybe we could talk about it today. I went to tea, we call it tea for two, my friend and I, tea for two at two. And
Really?
That's
yeah,
cute.
she's so cute. She
Aw,
calls it
that's
tea for two
nice.
at two.
Love it.
That's cute.
Yeah. So I went over there a couple weeks ago, and she is a retired professor that I used to have. She was my professor, actually. And she's retired now. And I went over there, and somehow we got into the conversation about AI. And she was in the kitchen, and she's funny. If you're thinking about generation, she's like the boomer generation. And she's in the kitchen, and she asked me some question, and I said, well, I actually feel pretty positive about AI. I think there's some amazing things that can happen, and I'm looking forward to, improvements in medicine and diagnoses, and maybe there's something that could be done with, eliminating crime, or maybe foreseeing shootings that are happening at different places. Maybe there's some kind of cameras or anyway, her voice from the kitchen, she went, oh my God, you're not one of them, are you? I was like, one of who? And I just laughed. But in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I see where she's going with this. And she goes, oh, you're one of them that thinks it's going to save the world. Anyway, I didn't get too deep into it because she's lovely and we have two different, opinions. But when I left that whole week, I started thinking about my students, right? And just everything that they've gone through that's so different from my generation. I mean, I'm generation X? I think I'm X. I wrote it down because I couldn't remember. Yeah, I'm generation X. We are generation X.
Okay.
We
So
are.
she's a boomer. We're X. X is like when you're born from 65 to 80.
Oh, I thought it was X-rated. No. Okay.
Depends on who you're talking to.
And boomers are 46 to 64. So to give us some idea. Millennials are born from 81 to 96. This is kind of rough ideas, right? There's nothing set in stone, but it's into the 80s, 81 to 96 are the millennials. And then you have Generation Z, which is 97 to 2015. So that's who I have in my classrooms right now, Gen Z. Mm-hmm. And your kids are most likely millennials, and their kids are Gen Z. So it made me think about how generational mindsets are, beliefs, and cultural habits and values that we have. And when I started thinking about that, I thought, man, we have talked so much about being positive for ourselves, right? But I think that this is something that can be talked about more. I think it's being talked about, but I, in my own family, can talk about this much more often in a much more positive way and a much more understanding way. Because when I started looking into different generations' mindset regarding just AI, for example, we're all so very different on how we see the future. And one of the things that I noticed, I'm just putting on my glasses so I can read really quickly, which I found this fascinating, was Gen Z has some of the highest rates of depression of any generation. So Gen Z is struggling as far as mental health. They're in mental crisis. They struggle with depression, and they also struggle with loneliness. Also, they're less active sexually than any other generation prior to them. So that social bonding, that social aspect of their life is much different than what we lived. So I'll just and then I started thinking of all the different ways their life has been impacted differently than my life. And I'm not specifically talking about millennials here, but sort of. They are also part of this.
Yeah.
More so than our generation X or the boomers. So just think about the different things that they've had to encounter that we never encountered when we grew up. And what I mean is childhood or high school. Their dating format. So they don't date the same, right? Most of it's online dating, which changes a lot of things. Their drugs that are out on the streets, like fentanyl, the opioid crisis, all of that came after us, right? The millennials had to deal a lot with that. Gen Z has to deal with the repercussions of that. Online schooling through COVID. They were very, very young through 9/11. They were, the 9/11 crisis was huge for the millennials. The recession in 2008, 2009, 2010, which was financially negative impact on their families. A lot of the youth that were growing up during that time struggled from that because they couldn't really understand what their parents were going through, moving houses, losing housing, all of that. School shootings. We didn't have school shootings when we were young, right?
Yeah.
They've lived with that their entire educational career on what to do in case of a school shooting. They've watched videos about it. Cost of higher education. So when I went to college, it was affordable. When millennials started to go, when the costs were raised drastically, and when people started going in debt. Human trafficking, right? They have these hand signals now that you give to people to say, "I'm in trouble. I'm human trafficking," and I see it all over the bathroom for women. Different numbers to call. I never saw that when I was growing up. I saw people writing, silly things, for a good time call.
So
right?
and so loves so and so.
The dark web, climate change, deforestation, loss of the Earth's pollinators like bees, butterflies, birds, bats. I mean, I know, I'm just saying this is what this poor generation is dealing with.
It's a lot.
And then we say, beauty standards, cloning, genetic modification, all the wars going on, political division, loss. And then we look at them as a generation. And I don't mean we, I just mean everything I was listening to since then was saying, well, this is the entitled generation. And I see this with my students too, right? They'll say that people think that they're entitled or that they're lazy or they're narcissistic because they're doing their own selfies or they're a fragile generation. And I've started to sort of change the way I think about it. And I love teaching. Like, it's my favorite generation, to be quite honest. They're very responsive. I've told you guys this before when we did that walk. Like, I feel really close to these students because they're quite emotional and they're quite open. They talk about their problems very quickly. They talk about therapy. They talk about gender fluidity. They talk about issues that I was never mature enough to talk about when I was that age.
For sure.
And so I look at that and I started thinking, this beautiful young generation is inheriting the world. And all they hear, not all, but a lot of times what they're hearing in their own families, at their own dinners, is things like fearing AI, fearing deforestation. Oh, well, the world's going to hell. Well, they're killing all the rainforests. Well, we have no more bees. Well, climate change is ruining all the ocean's rising. I mean, just, it's never ending what these kids are hearing. Imagine hearing that like Blaze's age. That's all you're hearing. Every time a new topic comes up, it's negative. Every time somebody has, well, this might help to save the world, and people go, no, that's going to destroy the world. It's like, they're only hearing that the future for them is bleak. And just that tiny little conversation I had with her, I thought, that is not something that I want to be a part of anymore. I think I might have done that about certain topics, definitely not, AI or anything. Like, I'm very much hoping that there's a better future, but I do believe that they're wired differently, and they're wired differently for a reason. They're going to have to live in a world that we've never seen. And so they're going to have to be more sensitive. They're going to have to live in a world with much more diversity. They're going to have to live in a world with computers and how to deal with that kind of technology. I took a computer class. You know how to use a computer when you're 12 months old.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I
right?
mean?
Yeah.
You don't even teach a kid how to use a computer anymore.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that kind of evolution, that kind of development that's happening, I think we're so fast to criticize it, when in actuality, it's a development that maybe we need as a society. That they're in touch with each other through, they're in touch with the globe. When I talk to my niece, she shows me videos from people in Ukraine, like a kid that's 12, 14, 16, posting live. So she's seeing not the news, because she doesn't watch
Yeah,
the
the
news.
real stuff.
She's
Yeah.
seeing real things. And so her digesting that information was totally different than my generation or the boomer generation. She wasn't getting her information from the media.
Right.
And so I just think that in my world, I'm at this place in my life where I want to be embracing new generations. I want to be the one that's the hopeful light in the room. When somebody starts talking negative, I want to be the one that says, look, it's their future. I'm looking to retire. The gal I just talked to, T for 2 at 2, she is retired. It's not really our world anymore. It's your kids' world and their kids' world. That's really I don't want to be the darkness.
Right.
I want to be the person that's looking at them going, oh my gosh, you can do something to make a difference. All these new things in technology are going to help you. You and your generation are going to be focused on resolutions, not on problems. And so anyway, I just thought that was something that might be interesting to bring up here, since we're always talking about ourselves and positive thinking. I was thinking this is definitely for the younger generations as well. Oh, that was it. That's what I wanted to
Well,
talk to you
I
guys
mean,
about.
I do think, don't you think, kind of like if you think back of even our parents and how things were changing back then, like that's kind of something as you get a little bit older and kind of look how things are. I don't know. I just remember doomsday hearing from my parents, like how the world is changing and things like that. And I think as we get a little bit older, it is very different. It's easy to go down that road of being really negative and horrible, instead of like helping them navigate through it. So
Right.
Yeah.
but you're right. I feel like the one beautiful thing about the younger generation is they are having to deal with all this diversity. And the one thing that I see is that they are a lot more accepting because there is social
For sure.
media and things like that. It's not unusual to see a gay person, transvestite, whatever the situation that was unique when we were younger. Um, Now it's just kind of out there, and like even Blaze, who's 11, he's already talking about it. That's already kind of part of his vocabulary, and it doesn't bother him. Which is kind of
I love that.
beautiful in that respect. If you think of like even interracial, marriages and children and things like that, that's so I would think it feels more common. I mean, maybe it's not, but it feels more accepted, than it did when I was younger, So, and I think that's the one positive thing about social media is because you're seeing it all the time, and now they're even putting it
Yep.
on TV shows and things like that. So, I do think they have a lot more open-mindedness about things like that, which is a really
Yeah.
beautiful thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I feel like with all those changes and all of those things that you listed, when this generation makes it through all of this, their resilience is something to be commended. Like if they can tolerate all of this and still be fighting and to make a difference and to survive and to be happy and to be successful, they're probably going to be a lot more resilient than us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
because
will
they've
for
had
sure.
so much to deal with.
Yeah, that is a lot though. Listening to you say all of that stuff, I was
Yeah.
like, oh gosh, that really is a lot to
a
go
lot.
through.
It's just such a massive shift compared to what life was prior to technology.
For sure.
And sometimes I just think that I forget, and I, like I said, looking at my students, they're all Gen Z. And I remember a couple years ago, I made a comment to a coworker of mine about how I was uncomfortable that a, a student came in and started talking about the medication they were on, and that it triggered everybody to share their medication and their therapy. And I said I was shocked because I didn't realize how many young folks were on medication or going through therapy or dealing with mental health issues.
Yes.
And I didn't quite even appreciate it when I said the comment. I just couldn't get my head around it. I just felt uncomfortable. All I was concerned about was me, that I felt uncomfortable having that conversation in the classroom because I wasn't sure how to deal with it. And I kept thinking it was privacy issues. And what makes me laugh is privacy issues. Like when you talk about AI and I, just going through the shooting. And I said to someone after the shooting in December, I was like, I hope that there's some kind of AI technology that can be put around places that have maybe regular streams of people coming in and out at the same time every day, like a school environment. Computers can easily pick up patterns, right?
For sure.
If you know the same people are coming in on certain days at certain times, it's pretty regular on a school
campus.
On a school campus because of the schedule. Even with regards to teachers coming in and out, it's very, very regular. Or the same cars in the parking lot.
Right.
If you could just get AI throughout the campus to just identify unusual cars or unusual people at certain times, then security can focus just in that area, right? It could just notify, hey, security, there's unusual activity right here. But it doesn't even have to be violent. It could be that this is somebody selling books or whatever. But at least you're focused on the new unusual item on the 95% normal activity, right? Well, the person I was talking to said, well, that'll never fly because of invasion of people's privacy. And I started laughing and I went, I don't think my niece, who's being followed by 16 people on her cell phone, is where, I mean, literally, her parents know where she is every minute. All her friends know where she is every minute. Like, she is being tracked every minute of her life and she could care less. Now, if you tracked me when I was 16, there's no way. I would have flipped out. Like if I thought my parents were following me, I would have flipped out.
No.
But these kids don't care about that kind of thing. So it's like, again, it goes back to sort of like, well, those are old ideas. Those are old people's concerns. And when I mean old, I mean me. Those are our concerns from back in the day. Privacy is not an issue for young kids anymore. So to kind of tout that as a problem, it's like, yeah, no, that's not a problem. Let's move on to a resolution. I mean, this might not be the resolution, but let's start moving towards resolutions, and things that work for the young generation because we're not having to deal with those same things, right? That was it, girls. That's all I got. Just feeling, just to kind of leave this on a positive note, I had that whole list of problem-oriented things that they've had to deal with. But as far as on a positive opportunity side, I mean, they are the most educated. They have the potential to be the most educated generation that the earth has ever seen because of their fingertips on information at any moment of any time, which is fabulous.
That makes sense to me.
The most technologically sophisticated is the Gen Zers because they never have been without it, where the millennials have been without it. The Gen Zers have lived their whole life with it. So they're technologically sophisticated. They have no fear of losing their privacy, so they can work more as a group, global group. They're shaking up old belief systems and old traditions. For example, a Gen Zer was one of the first to say, what? I'm going to be hired for an internship and you're not going to pay me? And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, why the hell did we work for free for a year?
No joke. What the hell's wrong?
Like, why didn't they pay us? What could we be hurting by getting a paycheck? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And you're not teaching me much. You're not paying me much, but we worked for free.
Yeah.
And, they're just kind of pushing these old beliefs and they're trying to update all of these, these types of systems that we've had in place that we've had them in place for so long that, they're outdated basically.
Yeah.
So, And then the other last thing was the entrepreneurial spirit. Sorry.
Yes. That's what I was going to say.
73% of them want to start their own business.
I definitely see that part. And the other thing too, and I think COVID probably changed this a little bit, but the working from home thing is so
Yeah.
different. And what I see in the job that I do is I see both parents there for these appointments, and
Yeah.
dad's a lot more involved in
Yeah.
the care of their babies. And they might take night shift, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of a cool thing because they are
Yeah.
definitely more in tune with their family. But I think the flexibility too with their jobs helps that,
Yeah.
that, yeah. So I thought that's one good thing that came from COVID, I suppose. So,
Yeah. And what I've noticed along those lines, Jana, is paternity leave. Like now they have men are
true.
demanding paternity leave. So I have
I
a
love
Yes.
family
that.
that I work with. The mom gets 4 months and the
Yep.
dad gets 4 months.
Yeah.
And so
I've
that's
seen that too.
essentially 8 months of, that a parent can be home with that baby, which is
Yeah.
great. And I've
It
That's
is
also
super
fabulous.
noticed in
cool.
the work field, these younger generation, they don't stay in jobs that they're not happy with.
I love
They
that.
just jump ship. Like we just hung on for years and
Oh, we
Yeah, we
years.
were
And
just
did.
like,
I'm not
Bitching
really
gotta
and moaning.
happy, but
gotta
I'm going to
stick with this
stay
one for
20 more
20 years.
years.
Right? So
Or we
true.
would get so nervous, like so
Yeah.
nervous if we were going to get in trouble. I can't do
Yeah.
that. You got these people getting on. Have you seen those videos where they're getting on the speaker like, I hate working at this place. This manager sucks. Don't shop here. I quit. And I'm like,
What?
oh,
Oh
I like
God.
that. I wish
Yeah.
I was that,
Yeah.
Unless you're the manager.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's
But I
not
mean,
fun that way. Yeah.
No.
but it makes sense again with this evolution because they're facing workforce displacement from AI. So
Yeah.
thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs are going to be released. Well, already they're starting layoffs.
Yeah.
All of the
Yes,
IT,
for sure.
these
Yeah.
technology, these
Yep.
poor people thought that they were on the leading edge,
Right.
getting into tech, and then got laid off by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
So I don't blame. It's like it all makes sense once I started looking at that. Like this is what they're being fed, and then we look at them going, "Why aren't you happy?" Well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because you just sat around with your girlfriends talking about how we won't even have bees, or the AI's coming and they're going to destroy us, or
Yeah.
like of course they're not happy if that's all we're talking about. We
Right.
see the
Right.
future as scary,
Yeah.
and then it trickles down to our kids,
Yeah.
and then we look at them going, why are you so depressed? Why don't you want to talk? Why do you need
Yeah.
mental health? Of course they need mental health. That's
Yeah.
all they've heard.
Yeah.
But I think they're also more open talking about their mental health. Like you
I
said,
love it.
everybody was happy to divulge that. It was such a secret, I think, when we were younger,
For
like
sure.
Yeah.
so embarrassing. And I like
Yeah.
even like
Shame.
postpartum depression was a real
Yeah.
thing, where it was so embarrassing and you don't talk to anybody or whatever, but it's kind of all out there, which is quite beautiful. At least they can ask for help and find help.
And I'll
So,
tell you, it kind of makes it look like they're the pioneers, if you will. Like if we are going into a new stage of, we're going to have to be united. We're going to have a much more broader understanding of people and perspectives, because with technology taking over, we are definitely changing direction. We all know that.
It's a small
So
world right now.
they are going to have to be different people. They're going to have to be wired differently.
Yeah.
And they're fighting the battle now, I think, if you look at it just as development. They're fighting the battle of, well, you all have been mentally sick, but you never talked about it. You were
Yeah.
not all happy. You all struggled.
Yeah.
There were many things that we never faced. And they're looking at it going, our generation can't afford to do that anymore.
Right.
So imagine how healthy their kids will be when you've had somebody who's gone through therapy, who understands how to control their emotions. Maybe they don't as a young person because it's hard.
Yeah.
But imagine continually thinking therapy is a healthy thing.
Right.
And then you're married in your 30s and you're raising a family, and you have this mindset of healthy mind, healthy life, right? Healthy lifestyle. That's way far ahead than
We
Yeah.
had.
I have ever
Yeah.
been. I mean, I'm just learning it and I'm 54.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm literally just learning like, ooh, I better watch how I think.
Yeah. I know, right?
Sad.
Or maybe get some
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, exactly.
There might be something to this therapy thing. Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
for
yeah, I
That's
sure.
love it.
great.
Yeah. I'm
Awesome.
feeling very happy about, just discovering this whole
Hopeful,
new
yeah.
phase, and and feeling happy about my own journey with it with my students,
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
wonderful. So
Yeah.
what's your takeaway? What's your golden nugget?
Mine?
Yeah, any of
I
you.
just gave y'all mine. Did
Yeah,
anybody
you're like,
else
"I'm
get
done."
anything from that?
Uh,
Golden nugget. What
I
do
don't
we
know.
think is the
I think it's
important?
just a changing of perspective. That's what I got out of it, is just rather than just clumping this whole generation in, oh, they're da 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 da, maybe just changing your perspective about their life has been very, very different from ours. And rather than judging,
yeah.
let's look at it as a whole. And I think we can be kinder and we can be more
Yeah.
accepting and more loving to the ones that we criticized before.
Yeah. And maybe just
sure.
giving them more space to grow, to be different. It's
Yeah.
hard to watch somebody be so different. I'm guessing even as a parent, like, wow, my child is much more, much different than I am.
Yeah.
But that's allowing somebody the space to grow and develop is really quite mature and
Yeah.
beautiful from a parenting side,
For
or,
sure. Yeah.
For
even
sure.
from a teaching side, having a teacher be able to give these people space and say, I'm outnumbered in this classroom. If this is
Yeah.
comfortable to you all, then I'm just here,
Yeah.
to do my job and teach, and I'm going to learn from you,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
think that's very respectful.
It's a good one.
Yeah. All
very
right.
good.
Sure.
Very good. Very good.
All right. So, just a little send off. I wanted to tell you guys a quick little story. I was hiking and it's hot, and my dog was sluggish and kind of not very comfortable. I don't carry water with me, I'm a bad pet owner. And we were just kind of sluggish, and we came upon this little creek. And he kind of, meandered into the creek, laid down, got wet. And he, I
Aw.
mean, 1 minute stood up, shook off, and took off running. And I was
That's all I
thinking,
needed.
yeah, but I was thinking that is what this podcast is to me. It's like
Aw.
a little dip in a cool creek, and I
Aw.
hope that
Yeah.
is what we are to other people that listen. You might come in a little sluggish, you might be not feeling very good, but you listen to this quick little podcast of the Haya girls, and it's like a dip in a cool creek.
Oh my God.
So
That's
Aw,
I'd like to
awesome.
leave
that's
Love
you off
it.
with.
Yay. Love that. Good ending.
I do too. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So we wish you
That's
all
really
a very
good.
good day, a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
And tell your
Sounds very good.
friends.
Don't
Tell your
forget.
friends.
Yeah.
Push
Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that little bell.
Share.
Hit
Share
the bell
love.
so you know we have a new
That's
episode
right.
out. Yeah.
That's right.
All
Every
right.
Monday.
Very good.
All right.
Bye-bye, ladies.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Mwah, mwah.